Welcome back to Market on Close. It's time now for Overlooked Stocks, and joining us is George Tsilis, Senior Markets Correspondent, and we're looking at IREN, a big rally today and hitting almost a three-year high. Tell us what we need to know about that one, George. Hello to you.
Well, listen, I think, if we consider what's going on with increasing computing yields and data centers, there seems to be a lot of movement from traditional Bitcoin mining facilities like IREN, other companies like Applied Digital. I think we've talked about it on this program, at least one of the other programs. But this is essentially a traditional Bitcoin mining company that is now expanding its technology to enhance the technology yields to provide artificial intelligence and cloud computing as a service. So AI as a service is essentially a new technology stack where these data centers, which also could have been hybrid Bitcoin mining facilities, are now building out their GPU technologies and essentially providing small and medium-sized, and even some of the larger case businesses that don't want to make their own capital expenditures in GPU technologies, like some of the hyperscalers, to allow them to basically lease artificial intelligence as a service through these mining centers or these data centers. And that's essentially what IREN is doing. And they're strategically located. What's unique about this one is it's strategically located in renewable energy areas like West Texas, British Columbia, which are high areas for wind. So they're generating a lot of wind and very low cost renewable energies to essentially mine Bitcoin, but also provide AI as a service. So this company has been growing quite substantially. In fact, if you look at sales in the last year, approximately in the last 4 quarters for that matter, $350 million. And I actually went and looked at some of the 5-year history, and they only generated back in 2020 $2 million. And even next year, they're expected to be close to $1 billion in sales. So this is a company that's growing substantially in terms of sales. And today there was an announcement where they essentially doubled their GPU outlay for Nvidia B200 and B300 chips to more than 4,200 addition, bringing their total to 8,500 units. But they also financed a previous acquisition of GPUs through structural leases. So they're basically leasing their AI as a service technologies and using those written leases to help finance the deals for these GPU acquisitions.
Yeah, I noticed that headline, certainly fascinating as far as, some of the demand there for those chips, particularly as we look ahead to Nvidia's earnings. I found it fascinating that this seems to be an Aussie-based company, and to your point, 100% renewable energy that it's powered by, which is fascinating. I mean, it's up quite substantially year to date, as you point out, 135%. I mean, does this have more legs to grow, do you think, as far as that conviction and that confidence in a business like that?
Well, that's the thing. I suggest if you just look at the analyst estimates in terms of top line sales into 2026, it's 971 million. I rounded up to $1 billion. So basically, if you look at the last 4 quarters at 350 million, that's basically a threefold increase. Even if this company also, by the way, is going to be reporting earnings on the 28th, they are expecting, at the very least right now, 22 cents on an adjusted profit basis. If you go back to last year, they lost 27 cents. So they basically are flipping from losses to profits this quarter, or upcoming quarter expected. Well, at the same time, their sales last year were 57 million, and for the quarter they're about to report, it's close to 188 million. So for what it's worth, this is a company that's enhancing their technology yield. They're basically vertically integrating their technology stack into not just Bitcoin mining, which is still a larger component of their business, but they're extending that technology for AI cloud and data center as a service technologies for AI computations. And that seems to be the theme that's happening now. I mean, CoreWeave is a big player, partnered with Nvidia. I talked about Applied Digital, a smaller player that's also very similar to IREN, not just in price performance over the year-to-date basis, but in terms of their business model, moving or adding, if you will, AI as a service on top of the Bitcoin mining stack that they already had. So that's, I think, compelling because they're enhancing the technology yield, which then translates into more economic yield. And so for what it's worth, going forward, looking at this year's earnings, the stock is expensive at 153 times, but all else equal, if you look at next year, they're expected to earn $1.24, which places the stock at only 17 times next year's earnings. And if you also consider the $5 billion market capitalization, it's only trading at 5 times next year's sales. So those are a couple of, relatively fair valued metrics for a company that's growing its revenues at, 100 to 200% per annum.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, as far as that transition from Bitcoin mining to that AI infrastructure, I mean, to your point, I mean, it's seen some fairly positive market sentiment, no doubt boosting some of that investor confidence. Any final thoughts, George, as we close out? About 30 seconds left here.
Yeah, so I did bring up that they're coming out with earnings on the 28th, so to be mindful of that. Right now, based on the cash on the balance sheet, they have about $184 million. For what it's worth, they have to consider that they may take an opportunity to issue a secondary offering. But for those who have missed out, it may present an opportunity for a buy-in. But you have to be mindful that the earnings coming out on the 28th can create a volatile situation, both high or low on the stock.
Yeah, and no doubt sandwiched in between two major sort of catalysts. So obviously we've got Nvidia on tap this week, and then also the PCE, which will no doubt be two market-moving events as well. Great snapshot of IREN. Thanks so much for getting us across that, George.